Hi guys, hi guys, hi. Dumelang bakajong. Um, so I just, I don't know. I just wanted this make this video today, man. I just feel like, you know, um, I was just like actually just reflecting, right, of my story. You know, now that I'm okay, man. I look at my story, I'm just like, oh my gosh. You know, I look at my story, man. I'm like, my story is so embarrassing, right? But then I want to do as far as wanting to wanting to delete the video, some of the videos on my channel. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. Because it's almost like I did not see myself. I was not aware of myself even making those videos, you know. But I understand now, right? I understand honestly, man. I truly believe that God wanted to make an example of my life, and not for anybody, but for people where I come from, right? Um, because of someone who doesn't come from, have experience of witchcraft, or come from the rural areas or small towns where witchcraft happens, someone may feel sorry for me, but fact is, this thing happens where I come from. A lot of people lost their mind. A lot of people have a stroke. A lot of people. I spoke about the video where I said when the video how I survived having a stroke from touching just 20 rand, right? I have a cousin of mine that literally went as far as sick because of stroke, where he could not until he was taken to a prophet um, and he fixed him, right? A lot of people where I come from, faith, they go through this thing, right? For me, man, again, God just wanted to make a massive example of my story that if you believe and if you pray and you believe in the heart of your hearts that you are a God's child, what happens? Honestly, man, you know, yo, guys, now that I'm aware of what God is doing to my life, I moved from the mindset of why me? Why me? Because I was thinking the other day, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my story is so embarrassing. I'm like, now I'm gonna be a face of what? Rape? But I've moved past the whole thing of like, oh my gosh, why me, God? Why me? I've moved past because of I used to just before I understand fully understand. I used to, the question, why me? Why me? Feeling sorry for myself, why me? Why me? Now I understand now, and I know for the fact that what I all I have to do right now is just to, to just accept and just to accept. That's all. I know that don't have to do anything. God, this is God's journey. This is God. Just let God and just you know tataisa me, right? And just for me, just to accept, right? But you know, and I'm at a point where I've accepted myself, But I was just like, God, but why? I now have to, you know, um, rape in front of, witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? You know, yo. But anyway, I was reflecting on my story, man. I was reflecting on my story. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this story is so embarrassing, But I was honest with my story at that time. All my videos, I was honest with my story. That's how I felt. That's how I was. Um, that's how I was. This is my true story. And in that moment, that's how I was. I was honest. I was, man. My videos were, I don't know. For me, from my side, I think it was a cry out for help, right? Two, it was I thought, honestly, man, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. Like I was fully, because of, I know, as much as I've never really not I've never really believed in witchcraft, right? It was more of a fear, like I said, fear, because of, I know where I come from. These things happen for real, and I never believed it, right? Like I said, if you've never experienced witchcraft, the moment you open your mouth, you want to do what? Invalidate people's pain, invalidate people's experience, right? And I used to do that. I was just like, man, everything that you guys talk, you just witchcraft, 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 right? Until it happens to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's when fear came from, because of, I know what happens. There are a lot of people where I come from that have lost their mind, right? There are a lot of people where I come from that have died in, like, there are a lot of people that, and when I have finally experienced witchcraft, for me, fear took over, right? Forgetting that, forgetting that it's not like that was the first time witchcraft ever happens to me, you know. And I remember there was a time when I was sitting and I was praying, and God spoke to me and literally showed me, remember the time, remember this time, remember this time, remember this time. Literally, there was a time when I was like, oh my gosh. And God was like, remember this time, it was me. Remember this time, I protected you. You remember this time, I protected you. That's when it was that's what made me not to fear witchcraft now, right now, and be fully okay and trust God, is because of, like, God shows me those times, like, it was not the first time you experienced witchcraft. I protected you many, many times, right? For that moment, again, it was just God to want to make an example. Also, because I did not believe in witchcraft, you know. But man, um, guys, there are people who say God doesn't exist. There are people who and I will say to people, always thought that people who say God doesn't exist, number one, you're blessed, privileged, and if you're privileged, which means you're blessed, right? To a point where your entire life you've never had a need, you never had to need God, which means you are highly blessed, right? For people that I feel sorry for, people are that don't believe God, that doesn't exist, because of, they feel like God never done anything to them, or God never protected them, or whatever. Those are the people that I feel sorry for, man. Guys, God works in a, yo, yo. For me, man, God protected me from things that a lot of people doesn't come from it. A lot of people doesn't come from where things that I went through, right? I I was not mentally challenged simply because of um, the witchcraft. For me, again, I'll repeat this: witchcraft. I don't think witchcraft probably played a a role in the whole thing. Sorry, guys, because of because of that was the starting point, right? Then followed by fear, then followed by anger, then followed by confusion, then followed by and it created a a spirit, right? But anyway, whew, guys, God is powerful. You know, God saved me from things, not just witchcraft, right? For me, witchcraft is nothing. Now that I know what I know, witchcraft is nothing, honestly, right? Here's the thing: God did not just save me from witchcraft, also the water spirit. Guys, a whole lot of people have lost their mind because of the water spirit. People must be honest about this thing called the water spirit. The water spirit, many people have lost their mind because of the water spirit. The moment you know secrets to this thing, you'll only be saved by God. There is nobody who will save you once you know a secret of the water spirits and you come and talk about it. It's only God. You know, I remember there was a time where, because of how I got to know the secrets to the water spirit, because this thing initiates you, right? Initiates you in hoping, in believing that you will go there. Well, I'll talk about me, right? I will go there, right? In the initiated me. I'll talk about tattoos, guys. I'll talk about tattoos. Yeah. Anyway, whew, I'll talk about tattoos. I hope I don't forget. You know, um, these things initiate you, right? Show you everything. Show you the life under the water. What happens under the water? It shows you everything in hoping to make you not fear to go to the water eventually. There are people who go to the water because they are taken by Sangoma, or because um, of churches that take them to the water, right? There are the people, oh, I'm one of people, and there are many of those people that the water spirit doesn't want a middleman. They want you. And because I was literally a day before I was meant to go to the water, and something happened to me and I end up not going there. These things came to what? My mental state. For my mental state. That's when I start talking about these things. They came from my mental state. Literally, I saw my mind in it. God literally protecting my mind. Which for me, I truly believe that people with mental, who are mentally challenged, they can heal through prayer. Depression, it's something that can be healed through prayer. I truly believe. You know, um, stay with the witches, and they just keep on looking at me. Um, I'm just by the window, but just by the way. Um, so God protected me from things that people doesn't come from, man. You know, that's why for me I say, you know, the day when I saw literally a lightning striking at home, that previously two times, um there was a lightning strike at home, and it got people injured. There's one of my cousin who um still has a feet on his feet. He got injured, right? But that day, the time when I was there, it did that. And literally, I remember saying to them, saying like, you are protected, to them. There's a video I made about, and I remember one of my aunt, she cried. If you didn't see that video, you can go back to where I said a video where I spoke about um lightning strike at home. And I said, I said that to them, that it's no need to be fearful. You are protected, you know. And it did that, and that time it did not affect anybody. It just like in the house and it left. That was for me, was the day, literally, I said, I'll never doubt God, right? Also, the time when I stroke, right, hold that money, and I started my arm feeling numb, could not feel my arm, literally. Um, that was also the time when I said, I fully trust God, you know. Um, guys, God is amazing, you know. Um, God saved me from things that, in fact, yo, I grew up without a father, right? Also, something that God heals, Savannah. The father to the fatherless. You know, there was a time where one day I used to watch movies, right? And I would see a character somewhere with a father and a son. I would cry, like literally cry, right? And I remember there was a time when 2022, 2021, I was with my childhood friend, right? And then he went to meet up with his father. I think I've said this story before. And then he we were at the mall in a like a thingy in a mall in a shop, man. And then it was just open space. I was just standing there. He went to talk to his father, and then they were just laughing like best friends, like laughing like best friends. And I was just look at them, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So I would never ever have this experience, right? And I remember wanting to cry. It was like very emotional, and I honestly, man, I used to feel like that, right? Until I realized God's love for me, God's anointing, God's hand, God's love for me. Literally, for somehow reason, those emotions, those whatever feeling, that void, it's no longer there. To a point where I was watching the other day, I was watching a TikTok, right? And I was watching Primo and his father. It was almost like the same image, same thing that I saw with my friend and his father, and I see this thing. It was almost like the same thing. But right now, I look at them. I'm like, man, that's so cute, right? Because the void is been what? It's been filled. Literally, something that I've been looking for so long. Something that I became a rebel. Something that I became drinking alcohol, doing things that are of character because of just looking for a father figure. But the whole time God was there. But again, for me, man, things that I went through, honestly, I had to go through it for me to be here, right? Um, yo, man, um, anyway, um, honestly, man, I look at my life, I realize that God has always been there. From primary school, like I said, mate, I've had many times where I could have died, many times. You know, more than I have near death experience. There was a time when near death experience more than once, and God, for somehow, He just kept bringing me back to to this state. You know, smile, happiness, joy, bubbly. You know, it's just, man, it's just amazing. You know, um, Also, someone may ask me, like, I went through so much. How come I've not probably committed suicide or even thought of committing suicide, right? Honestly, man, I've never attempted to commit suicide. Like, Satan throw in suicidal thoughts, right? Especially the water spirit. Guys, people who are followed by water spirits tell the truth about the water spirits. The water spirits, the only time when I experience having suicidal thoughts was when the water spirit was literally now fighting to 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 wanting me, and I was just like, I'm not going to water. That's when the suicidal thoughts came in through, you know. But besides God, right? For me, I was saved by God, right? But besides God, something that is tangible, right? Not something that is not tangible. What am I saying? Um, there's a helicopter. It's making noise. Something that honestly, man, protected me from committing suicide or even entertaining suicidal thoughts. Honestly, man, it was self love, right? Self love, it's something that I've never struggled with. Like, I've never struggled with self love. I've never struggled with confidence. I've never struggled with self esteem. I've never, ever in my life struggled with confidence, self love, right? I remember there was a time when I will wake up when I was depressed, but I will wake up, just didn't have energy. Um, but I will wake up and I will go and look at myself in the mirror and I will just say, like, boy, you will be okay, you know. And one thing about say I love you, there's something that I've always told myself, but there's something that I've always told myself. Never struggled with being wanting to be loved by somebody, you know. And I can proudly say this one thing, that when I had the suicidal thoughts, the time when the water spirits was just there to get me, one thing that thought the suicidal thought in my head, it was self love. Honestly, man, it was self love. Self love came through for me. I know God, self love is God, of course, but faith, self love is something that that fought, that protected me from probably in entertaining um, committing suicide. You know, um, yo, man, guys, God is amazing, man. God is amazing, honestly. There's certain things that, you know, I can't share, you know. Also, with the water spirit thing, honestly, man, I want to get into that thing, talk about the water spirit, like be truthful about this thing, what this thing is doing to people, because of, man, um, this is a spirit that it's that can manipulate you, you know, that makes people do things out of a character, you know. And there's a spirit that, oh, wait, there's a spirit that is gonna take over a whole lot of people, because there's a spirit that enters people's body through sex, and there's a spirit that has like a, if you it's within you, it has high sex drive, right? And there's a spirit that, man, if something's not done, this spirit is going to take over a whole lot of people. And because of, like, again, there was no information. People blame pastors that have they hear that There's churches that are big, they use snakes, you know, either being ZCC, being IPCC, being Bazalwani, and because there's a spirit that makes people to believe that I'm God, right? There's a spirit in fact that yeah. Um but anyway, man, like I said, I'm gonna be honest about my story. I will just one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, you know. Um and I also honestly, man, I truly, you know, for me, man, God protected me so that I can speak about these things, eventually to talk about these things, you know. And I will, you know, likely for me, even, you know, being conceived through rape and talk about it openly, it's something, or talk about my mental challenge that I went through. It's something that most of people shy away from it because of stigma or because of um, what gonna people say. But likely for me, I don't have Batwatlaring syndrome. I've never had that thing. I've never, but also I've never, and thank for me, God trusts me with the story because of He knows that. But Batlaring kamang, and then right. But man, I know that when people talks, people get crucified, right? Usually, it's probably that's the reason why people fear to talk about these things, you know, because of I see people talking about it, but people don't tell the truth. People don't wanna tell the truth the way it is, you know, because of some things that these people makes this the water spirits makes people to do. They're very embarrassing, right? Um, People don't want to tell the truth about these things. The water spirit is not of God. The water spirit is evil. The water spirit is evil. But again, I'll go back to my previous video where I said there are some people who say there's a good water spirit and there's a bad water spirit. I don't know. That one, I don't know. Right? But what I know that the water spirit follows before I said three people, I said the artist, right? Because artist, why artist? Because artists they have influence. The water spirits want to take over. The water spirits of the devil. The water spirits want to take over. So they use the word artists because artists got influence, right? Prophets. That's why you hear some prophets sleep with people, different people, because of the sex high drive. That's the reason why people don't talk about these things because some of the things are embarrassing, honestly. Pastors have churches, right? Um, there is also politicians, right? I don't want to get onto that a lot because of I don't know anybody who's politicians or it's not something that I'm close to. I'll pass on that. The other one, people from kingdom, the Khosi, also because of I do have a royal blood, people from royal families, and this is something that have been happening for years, long time ago. There's a story of here's a thing. Also, I heard before I get into something like that, say that there's a story of people say there's a not there's guy on TikTok where he went on to Mudimulle mountain, right? Because of those things, they stay in cages, right? From where I'm from, right? Like I said, if you've been following my story, where I'm from, the village where I grew up at, right? It's it doesn't have the water spirit thing. The water spirit is from the other village where I went to middle school at, right? There's two of them, right? There's a place called Mamasilo. Uh, it's a not a river. It's a river. A river. What's a river? River is no. It's not a river. It's a river, man. It's a river, but then it's one Noka, right? Noka. I don't know what's Noka in English. And the one that wanted me to go there, it's called Sidiba, right? Um, but then I'll talk about those things at a time, another video. I'll probably the next video. That's when the next video I'll just talk about the water spirit, right? Where was I? There are people who say that there are people who go to those mountains, right? And those mountains are very dangerous. They're very dangerous because of, like, okay, let me just touch on it. In my village, right? That thing, it makes people lose their mind. And we're not talking about theory that we heard. What? You talk about this thing recently, right? That was last year where it makes someone lose their mind because of the person was coming from work and he passed through next to the water, and this thing was out, was bathing, whatever, was playing outside, whatever, and this guy went the ice with it, immediately lost his mind, right? Even people who have a spiritual gift, that these things they are taken there, they're not supposed to look at those things like eye to eye. You know, to look at from here. You know, you don't have to look it into the eyes. The moment you look at it into the eyes, people lose their mind, depending on the level of your spiritual gift, right? There's some people who have a spiritual gift that are powerful, that overpower these things, right? Mudimule mountain, right? It's the same thing to the Inkanyamba, Kwanyabe, whatever this thing is, right? It's literally just something that it's almost like it's dangerous, of course, but anyone who have a spiritual gift, they can enter those things, right? They can go there, and literally in these things, if they just come with respect, fearless, knowing that I have a spiritual gift, these things they obey. They literally obey to this person because this person is powerful. And the only reason, sir and ma'am, you are able to go to these things, into those caves or water, it's one thing, because of God. Honestly, it's because of God. People, they only go to there because they have a spiritual gift. And you can't tell me that the spiritual gift, it comes from the water. You can't tell me that the gift come from those things. They do not. The only reason you, as much as me, it's just that for me, I just for me, I did not go there. That's the reason why in my video I said I thought to myself when I say, like, but what if these things are after me? Why am I fearing them? Maybe I should go there, right? If you go to my video, my other video, the only reason these people are able to go there, because of God, because of God gave me the power. That's the reason some of these people, they call themselves God. Some people, they what they realize the power they have, and it goes to their head, and they want to be what? To be feared. They want to be, that's one thing that I always tell myself, Fana. I always tell myself, like, boy, you are chosen. That there's nobody can tell me otherwise. I'm chosen. A person who, these things, they are after them. The people are chosen, right? And there's a level of a gift to these things, because there are people who are supposed to go to the water, they're not supposed to enter the water because they're not as powerful, right? They're supposed to be outside the water and just pray, whatever. There's some people who are supposed to go there, they can able to just go and dip their feet in the water. Some people just to bath. Some people who go under the water to just to an hour or 3 days or 7 days. Some people they go for 6 months, whatever. Right? I said I will not talk about this thing, but let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. You know, where was I? Where was I? Um, where was I? But anyway, the only reason that these people they're able to go there because of they have a spiritual gift. That these things they lie to them to say that you're supposed to go there. My spiritual gift, I know it's my spiritual gift, and I know it's gonna work, and I know it's still working without me going to Utwasa, without me going to the water. You know, I lost where was I going, but anyway, guys, I just wanted just to talk about this thing. I'll probably just to talk about the water spirit just now. Just I don't know. But man, God is amazing. Um, God is amazing, man. God is amazing. God is amazing. I forgot the true thoughts there, but then I will do the next videos, guys. Anyway, man, we are coming. The confidence is back. We found ourselves, myself again. I found myself again, man. I feel good. I haven't had smiling. I don't know how many months. You know, um, like I said, I've been living fear for the longest time. It's time we and it's time we and I know it's gonna come with a lot of negativity. But then, my father, man, I know God is my father, and He trusts me. So let's just awaken people, man, to the truth, right? The water spirit is not of God. That is a fact. I don't blame pastors that you hear today that they um have the water what they have snakes. I don't blame them because there was no information. People with information don't want to tell the truth. We are here will tell the truth. You know. Um you know, um you know, there's a certain truth to the water spirits that it's so uncomfortable to say, but I'll say it for the sake of for me, God protected me to say these things. You know, and I can't be selfish about this thing, man. And the people that I feel sorry for, man, honestly, young men, young men. Those are the people that I always look at young men. I'm just like my heart, honestly, man. Just less than the age of 30 and less, my heart goes for them. You know, when it comes to this the water sport thing. You know, I get emotional even thinking about it. You know, because of the water spirit is after young men. You know, I get emotional. And I said to myself, I will never cry. The last time, can I just tell you because the last time I cried, when was the last time I cried? It will go to the moti over my head. That's when I said, God, man, God, you know, I was like I was talking about the whole fear thing, right? And like I said, I've never really struggled with fear, and I've always been fearless, man. I've always been one that guy. Like I said, I'm a creative. I have very good ideas for TV, right? Back then, when I would knock on production houses and actually get in a boardroom and pitch an idea to the producer. Now I fear to go and DJ to the club, to a tavern. Guys, do you understand the level of fear? Fana, I had a whole interview with Wami. Wami. Today I fear just to go to a tavern, DJ, something that I went to school for, something that I know is my passion. The last time I cried, the last time I cried was I was just going through these things like I want to do these things, but there's fear, and I looked at where the fear came from and lack of confidence and self esteem, right? Where when I sit and I reflect and I literally look at my life, I was like, dude, I've never need to be validated. I was validated from a young age by my teachers, by my grandmother. In fact, I was from school, from grade one, primary school, middle school. I was A student. I was always top three. That's where for me validation came from, right? Honestly, the confidence came from just the fact that I've always been from primary school. I've always been smart, right? Um, and that validation from teachers, for me, like I said, God. And my teachers were not from my primary and my middle school. They were not from my village. They would come from outside, and for me, they were God sent. That's why I say like God has always been there for me. You know, my fear and my anxiety and my lack of confidence came from literally from the witchcraft. The moment of when I sit and I reflect and I literally try to go back with my mind and like look where did I started having fear, started having feeling like I don't deserve certain things, where I started being cautious of myself, where I started having even doubted myself. Where did that start? Literally started from that witchcraft part. That day, literally losing myself, forgetting who I am. That's when it literally was hard to go back to my old self, you know. And I remember I was crying. I was literally crying, thinking about her. And it's almost like God was like, pick the punishment for her, right? And I had it's almost like I was not even dreaming because I was awake. And I see her in my head losing mental disturbed. And I was literally like cringed, just like, like literally I was like, I cringed and I was like, no, 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 no. I don't want that, right? I do not want that to happen to her. That was the last time I stopped feeling sorry for myself. That was the last time I stopped crying because of I wouldn't want that to happen to her. Like I wouldn't want that. Honestly, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody, especially her. No, Fana, no, no. That was the last time I stopped crying. Literally, that's when I was like, God, no. Let my revenge just be the success.